Hi, this is Dave Valvo. I'm very pleased to be your judge for this competition. A little bit about myself. I'm retired from Kodak. I was there for 34 years. And while I was there, I did a lot of things, but most of the time I spent in black and white paper. And I have a master's degree in image science from Rochester Institute of Technology, which is a nice degree to grab, but it doesn't help me take a picture. I understand what I'm doing, but as far as getting a good artistic photograph, the master's degree doesn't help. You got to get out there and shoot and practice, which I've been doing for about 65 years. Well, enough about me. Let's get on to this competition. I'm going to start with the entry level. The chairs at Peggy's Cove. I've been to Peggy's Cove. I didn't see these chairs or so many other things to photograph. But I have a little small issue with this that I'd like to talk to the photographer about. There's a lot of space on the left-hand side of this image that's lacking interest. So my suggestion would be to take it out and crop that right out. Now, once that is gone, now I have a dichotomy between those beautiful chairs that are bright and the light rocks in the foreground. My eye doesn't know which to look at. So you need to make a decision as to which one you want to expose for. Another item is that maybe a little more space on the right-hand side of this image. I'm going to give this score a 9. Here we have a cute little dog, dog day afternoon at Cato Lake. Very warm image. The eyes looking at the camera makes you feel that the dog has an emotion towards you. And as me as a viewer, I sense the love the dog is giving to me. The feet being dirty and wet suggests that perhaps this dog is a derelict or a stray, but being on this dock, he's resting, and the photographer has caught a nice image with this animal. I would like to see the plank in the foreground darken a little bit because it's taking my eye away from the dog, and also the out of focus area at the top of the image should be darkened down a little bit so my eye doesn't go there. Giving this a score of 9. I got lights, shadows, and details in front of me, which looks like a glass with the green light shining on it with a brown leaf, I hope, in the center of the glass with water on it. That's what I see. I would like to see some changes. I'd like to see the top of the leaf be in focus and detail in the bottom of the leaf, since this photograph is about that leaf and the glass is just a frame for the leaf. To do that, I'm known to do more than one image and then focus stack it. But another way to do it would be to just increase your depth of field with a smaller aperture, larger number. The background you don't need to worry about because it seems like with the right depth of field, it's not an issue. I'd also like to see a little bit more detail in the bottom of the glass. That little glow of the green should go just about another eighth or a half an inch further down. California Dreamin'. Very little can be said about this image. It's a nice silhouette, beautiful color in the water, a lot of vertical lines and a horizontal line. Building is in a nice location. Perhaps at the 1/3 point might make it a little bit more interesting. I'm going to give this image a 10. Aqueduct Segovia is a place that I have been, and it's a very difficult image to photograph because it is so big and so long. The way to do it is what this photographer did, is stand at one end and capture the entire thing in the long perspective distance. Problem with this image, however, is the eye takes you right down those lines, and there's 3 lines take you down to a vanishing point, and there's where your eye gets trapped. And there's nothing else to resolve the eye, so you really need to open this up a little bit more on the right-hand side. I also like how the photographer has taken those 2 tall vertical buildings and put them in the archways. It would be nice if the building on the right was in the center of the archway, and you could accomplish that by just backing up a little bit, giving us a score of 10. Snack on Flight. I'm glad I read this title because otherwise I would not have seen what's in the bird's mouth. And that's the most interesting part of this photograph. The feet are distracting because he's not in flight yet, because they normally fold their legs back. The wings are awkward. So it's a nice capture of a bird against a beautiful sky, which we don't see here in Rochester very often. There's a little bit of fruit left on the tree, so you can see what he's got in his mouth. So it's a very nice image. I'm going to give it a 12.
Wooden farmhouse, 14 points, second place. Excellent image, well exposed, and great composition. If it was my image, I would darken the left side of the image a little so my eye is drawn to the church rather than the brighter left side that has nothing to look at. I would also just add a little space under the fence. It needs it on the left side mostly.
Ready to recycle. This is an outstanding street photography image. I like the fact that the person pushing the cart full of cans is not looking at the photographer. And the position of the can leading into the scene, a lot of space on the left-hand side, is very good composition. What is distracting in this image is the cone. The bright orange color of the cone grabs my eye away from the interesting man and his cart. So to resolve that, I would probably put this image into a black and white category by converting it into a monochrome, giving it a score of 14.
Intermediate level.
Very cute image. I'm looking at puppy life, and puppies are so lovable. He's making the turn, turning into the image, running into the empty space. Very, very nice. I like it a lot. The background is out of focus, which is what you want. Good, nice image. I'm giving it a 9. Looking at Nevermore, the very dark center of the photograph with all the light background is distracting. The background is taking my eye away from the image. Yes, I do see the eyes in the mask, and they look kind of strange because they look like they're a little cross-eyed, but the image really should be more focused on the mask and less of the background. 9. Now here's an image that really has the inverse of high impact. Something you really don't want to look at, but it's exposed very, very nicely, and it has a lot of detail, but I can't get excited about it. 10. Daffodil bonnet in black and white. When you're working in black and white, you have such creative abilities, which this photographer didn't do. By making the petals a different texture or making them different brightness or darkness. I'm bothered by the flower being cropped off at the top and the second flower beneath it. Don't feel bad that I'm not giving this a high score, but flowers are extremely difficult to photograph. 10. Hanging around. Well, this is an image that when you're this close, it should be a lot sharper. I don't know if I'm looking at a small image that's been put on the web, but I'd like to see that eye, that blue eye, with all the details in it, and the hairs stand out really, really crisp. Same thing in the pillow. 10. Always difficult to photograph something in motion. I'm looking at that rolling ball will be mine. The head is nice, sharp, and in focus. I would like to see a little bit more space on the right-hand side because he's running into something, not the wall. The fact that his feet are blurred shows a lot of flight, a lot of motion. Very good. Give it 10. I have a problem as I don't know what I'm supposed to look at here. The bouquet of flowers or the statues. I know that this is supposed to be a memorial with a thank you for what these soldiers have done, but I just have a problem with my eyes not knowing where to look. The bush on the left is distracting. The fact that it's a little darker on the left, I know the photographer is trying to make you look more towards the right. I would crop this image maybe 1/3 off the bottom and 1/3 off the left to focus on just the section that is a few soldiers and the American flag and the word thank. Give this a 11. At smooth flight, beautiful image. Birds in perfect position. Wings are outstretched. Background is great. It's a very, very nice image. The eye is there, nice and clear. Would like to see a little catch light in it. Not an issue. Also, just a little bit more space on the left behind the bird would be nice. I'm giving this a 12. Pearls in a shell. Very good exposure. I like the black all the way around. Lots of nice detail in the egg. Very little improvement you could make to this, except maybe the gold ball on the left-hand side being a little sharper. Scored 12. Looking at Dallas lighting up the skyline, a fireworks show, always great images, especially with the background of the city. Nicely done. Perfect set of exposures, giving it a 12. Looking at the cemetery after sunset. Nice sky, gorgeous. I would, however, like to see the cemetery just a tad brighter. 13. Very, very nice black and white street photography image. I love it. I was first looking at this thinking, I wonder if it would look better if cropping off maybe 25% of the right-hand side of the image because it's not adding anything to the image. But I could go either way. A little bit lighter on the face might be attractive. Just trying to survive, being able to read the text and the dog not being bothered by the photographer. Excellent image. 14.
Advanced level.
Spring bulbs. This might be better in color than in black and white. It's too monochromatic. There's very little information here. Remember, black and white is all about detail. It's all about contrast. It's all about things that you are going to grab your eye. There's nothing in this image that grabs your eye. 8. Intra-Sahara Desert is somewhat distracting because the sun is behind the images and causing rays of light. Giving this a 9. Smile, lovely image, perfectly composed, nice sharp detail, 10. Foggy Island, nice reflection in the water, nice fog. A lot of times when I photograph things like this, I like to put a little something in the foreground that shows me depth of field. In this case, the reflection does it. So it's a very nice image. 11. Increasing clouds, high winds, unique image. It really doesn't fit with the rest of them because it's a artistic representation. There's little improvement that I could suggest to this except maybe to show a more curvature at the top valley by shading. I'm giving it an 11. Rainy day in St. Mark's, another place that I've been and I've never seen it so empty. Lovely reflections. I like this a lot. 12. Chauvinist fantasy. Great exposure everywhere. Would like to see a little bit more sharpness in her eyes and a little bit more space in front of the headlight of the Harley. But otherwise, this is a very good photograph. 13. Caravan. I like the footprints in the back of the sand. The fact that the camel driver is kind of looking back is attractive. Would like to see a little bit more space in front of the front camel. And also the top of the photograph doesn't add any information, and you might want to crop it 25% down and just show the dunes. Nice image. 14. Zhao Pao Fujian, if that's how we say this. Gorgeous image. The gentle color and the detail in the water is really, really interesting. Maybe I would crop off 15% of the bottom of the image just to put the boat a little lower down to the 1/3 point. Would add a little bit of interest. I'm giving this a 15.
Master's level.
Sunset over the Danube River. That's it. It's a sunset over the Danube River. There's very little interest, and the impact of this photography is not that high. 9. Nuts for nuts. Nice expression on the person sitting at the bench waiting for a customer. The other guy walking by with a broom with a cute sign that says blessings only. It's an interesting photograph. Well done, well exposed, but very common. 10. Flowers are very difficult to photograph. Got 3 flowers here. That's a good idea. It would be nice if everything was sharp and in focus, but the ones on the left are not. 10. The horse entering the water at a Cold Creek crossing. Nice to see that the snow is not gray. So many people tend to just use automatic exposure and they end up making snow on 18% gray. So this is a well-exposed image. 10. Chamo River in the fall. Nice detail. I like the motion in the water, but it needs some action. 11. Nice Christmas lights, but either they're out of focus or the tripod moved a little bit. I'm not sure which. The green tree should show every single pinpoint of light. 11. A very common photograph. The paddleboarder needs to be a lot closer. Then this photograph will have a lot more impact. And also the contrast should stand out. Those mountains should be very sharp and clear and in detail. Perhaps I'm distracted by the foreground reflection, and if I were to crop this photograph completely in half, I might have a better image, and then my paddleboarder would be a lot closer. 11. Fort Worth Cowboy is nice in black and white. Normally, we would see a cigarette sticking out of his hand, but this is a little too tight on the left-hand side. I'd like to see that opened up so you can see a little bit more of his knuckles. Nice brown image tone. Good image. 11. Nice photograph of a cowgirl. Very pretty girl. It might be better to show some detail of the horse's head, make it into a horizontal, but then you get away from the beauty of the young lady. 12. Very nice portrait. Sort of mysterious. Nice tonalities. 12. Looking at white-faced Chapukchin family. Interesting how they're not looking at the photographer, but at someone else. It appears that the color balance is a little off here, but it's nice because whenever you take pictures of a number of items, odd numbers are better than even numbers. And there's 3 animals here, not 2. 12. First image is Nautilus. Very nice name for a stairway that looks like a nautilus. Well composed, very good exposure, very nicely done. 13. Cato Lake is a gorgeous image. The tree in the foreground and the overall tone is lovely. 14. Solar eclipse is awesome. You got it. You nailed it. Double image doesn't bother me. It tells me exactly what's happening here, that it's the moon in front of the sun. In fact, I even like the fact that you put a double image on this photograph. It's telling the story exactly the way it is. 15.
Best of Show, Solar Eclipse 2017. Being in an area where the sun was totally covered by the moon was great. Having no cloud cover was a blessing. Getting the right exposure of the corona means you have to know what you're doing. You don't get second chances. So this image was very well exposed. Adding the visible moon is a touch of reality that I like. If it were my image, I would have done the same thing. Well done. Now, if by some means the photographer did not superimpose the moon, then this image has even more technical value and impresses me even further.
Well, that should complete the judging of your images. I want to thank you for allowing me to be the judge for this competition. It was an honor to be selected by PSA and your club to do that. Thanks a lot. Have a nice day. Bye.